Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another big Steve Malzberg Show, Tuesday edition on this July 4th week. It's July 2nd, if I am counting my days right. I guess 2 comes after 1. I went to New York City public schools while they were still darn good schools, as you could tell from my mathematical capabilities. We have a lot to get to today. In just a moment, I'm going to start talking about what is going on at the Zimmerman trial, what went on at the Zimmerman trial, and what took place on this show about 23 and a half hours ago, which you may have heard or you may not have heard. But it was an interview, a debate between myself and Dr. Johnson. We talk to him every week. We debate the issues. Unfortunately, Dr. Johnson decided that he was going to misrepresent, for whatever reason, what the 911 call from Zimmerman to the, what the non-emergency 311 call to the non-emergency line was on the night that he pursued Trayvon Martin, that he followed Trayvon Martin, that he got into the altercation with Trayvon Martin. We'll get to that in a second. What we're seeing now, or what I'm seeing now, what's been going on, is the medical examiner who did not examine Trayvon Martin, his body, and is there and was called by the prosecution for the sole purpose of telling the world that the injuries suffered by George Zimmerman are not serious. They're insignificant. They were not life-threatening, to diminish them. And I got to tell you, when the defense cross-examined and Mark O'Mara cross-examined the medical examiner, first he established that it was the prosecutor in the case who runs the state prosecution office, who brought the charges against George Zimmerman, that recommended her for this case. Also established that she served as the head of a district office in Florida as medical examiner, was not reappointed, and she confessed she didn't run again. She didn't seek reappointment, and it was because of problems in her office. For what it's worth. And basically, she had testified for the prosecution under examination from the prosecution that, he probably got hit 2 or 3 times. Banged his head maybe once or twice. And then Mark O'Mara got up there and got her to admit it was as little as 3 times that his head was, as she put it, let's see, have his head, I forget what it, I don't have the word. I wrote the word down. I don't have it. But banging the head on the concrete at least 3 times. Hits to the nose. Unable to tell for sure how many hits to the nose. So this was, again, Mark O'Mara does a masterful job at deconstructing the defense witnesses or the prosecution witnesses upon cross-examination, and I think he got the job done with her. Again, the state is trying to show over and over again that the injuries suffered by George Zimmerman were not life-threatening and were not serious enough to make him feel that he would lose his life or suffer severe bodily harm, both of which are the justifications for using deadly force in self-defense. So there you go with that. Now, so we'll talk more about that. We also had a friend of George Zimmerman testify, best friend, and the author of a book defending George Zimmerman, by the way. Mark Osterman took the stand, and he said that Zimmerman told him, somehow I broke his grip on the gun when the guy grabbed between the grip and hammer, and he backed up. That Zimmerman had told him after the event that Trayvon Martin was going for his gun, grabbed the gun, and he got it away from him, or he got it before he got it, and shot him. Okay, so everything is either consistent, and I got to tell you, everything I've heard all week and you cannot convict on that basis. You just can't. Not legally, not if you're doing your job as a jurist. So that's where we are, okay? That's where we are. I'd love to hear from you. If you're listening on XM Radio, America's Talk Channel 244, or you're listening in Atlanta on News Talk 1160, or if you're watching at Newsmax.com, I want to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you on your take on what's going on, where you think we are, and I'm going to play for you now something that I got to get straight. Yesterday, if you were tuned into this show, either on Newsmax or on the aforementioned alternatives, XM or in Atlanta, News Talk 1160, the talk of the town, you heard me and Dr. Jason Johnson, who is a weekly guest with me. Most of the times we disagree. Sometimes we agree. We're always friendly. We get heated, but we part as friends. Except yesterday, we didn't part as friends. I ended the interview. Because I could have a conversation and I could go back and forth in a heated way or friendly way, in a learned way, in an educational way, an entertaining way, and hold my own with anybody. But if you're going to lie, either out of ignorance or out of malice about what we're talking about, then what's the point of me having that conversation? What am I supposed to do? Lie back? And yeah, I mean, what's the point? Now, what do you mean he's lying? Now, I had a Twitter exchange today. If you follow me at Steve M Talk, you could go see the Twitter exchange that I had with Jason Johnson. When I got home last night, I posted our interview. I tweeted it out. I put it on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Steve M Talk. I then sent Jason Johnson through Twitter a link to the transcript of the 311 call that George Zimmerman made on the night of the shooting, and I tweeted him the link to the audio tape. Okay, the audio tape. And yet, after all that, this morning I get up, and basically, Jason Johnson is saying, why would I lie? I have no motivation. You're the one with a ideologic, I'm paraphrasing. You're the one with a rooting interest in this. I don't care who wins or loses. Why would I lie? And I asked him back, yeah, why would you lie? Because you're lying. This isn't hard. You're going to hear this in a second. You're going to hear the tape. This isn't hard stuff. It's there. It's black and white. And red all over. Ba-dum-bum. Actually, I could do ba-dum-bum. Black and white and red all over. It's not up. Now it is. Black and white and red all over. There you go. You see? All right. So, when we come back, hopefully we'll have time for all of that. We're coming back. Don't go away on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts. And some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Out of the car when you didn't have to get out of the car.
No, that doesn't matter. But that doesn't. See, now you're pulling. Now you're reaching, man. Now you're reaching.
Parts that are going to make you feel better about the case. The fact of the matter is, the man got out of the car when he was told he wasn't supposed to.
No, you're lying. You're lying. You're lying, Jason, or you don't know.
Not lying.
Jason, the tape. Jason, did you hear the tape? They said, Jason, are you following him? Yes, you don't need to do that. They did not say, don't get out of the car.
Come on.
So that's a lie, Jason.
No, you are lying because
Really?
you have ideological motivation to say that George Zimmerman's innocent. What I'm saying is this.
No, you're misrepresenting what was on the tape.
If the police told you you don't have to
Not the police, Jason. Wasn't the police. Another lie, Jason. Not the police. Not 911. They didn't tell him don't. They said you don't have to. They didn't tell him while he was in the car. They said it when he was already following him. Come on, Jason.
You're not going to get out of the car, Steve. If you get a call, if you were a neighborhood watch person and the dispatcher or the cop or whoever says you don't have to do that, you're not going to get out of the car.
Jason,
you're not going to get out of the car with a bullet already.
Jason, the problem is he was already out of the car.
Oh, he wasn't.
Oh, yes, he was. There's no question there.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, Jason, the question from the tape was, are you following him? Yes, you don't need to do that. Isn't that what the tape said?
He told him you don't have to get out of the car.
No. Okay, we're going to skip ahead and not play the other soundbite from Jason Johnson. So there you heard Jason Johnson said that he was told by 311 operator you don't have to get out of the car. Let's go to that tape. Here's cut 9. Cut 9. Let's play that one.
They always get away. Yeah. When you come to the clubhouse, you come straight in and make a left. Actually, you would go past the clubhouse.
Okay, it says on the left-hand side from the clubhouse?
No, you go in straight through the entrance, and then you make a left Yeah, you go straight in, don't turn and make a left.
Okay, that wasn't 9. That was 10. Let's go back to 9. This is preceding it. We're missing a cut. Okay, let's hope it's on here. Let's go to 10.
Okay, so it's 1111 retrieve you or 111?
That's the clubhouse.
That's the clubhouse. Do you know what he's near the clubhouse right now?
Yeah, now he's coming towards me.
Okay.
He's got his hand in his waistband. Yeah, he's a black male.
Okay. How old would you say he
He's
looks?
got a button on his shirt. Late teens.
Late teens, okay.
Mm-hmm. Something's wrong with him. Yeah. He's coming to check me out. He's got something in his hands. I don't know what his deal is.
Okay, just let me know if he does
Get an
anything,
officer
okay?
over here.
Yeah, we got him on the way. Just let me know if this guy does anything else.
Okay.
All right, you heard the operator say, let me know if this guy does anything else. Which means keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. Next cut. Play the next one.
He's running.
He's running? Which way is he running?
Down towards the other entrance of the neighborhood.
Okay. Which entrance is that he's heading towards?
The back entrance.
Are you following him?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need you to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Are you following him? Okay, we don't need you to do that. Did you hear it, folks? Not stay in the car. Don't get out of the car. Don't follow him. Keep an eye on him. Let me know if he does anything else. And then, are you following him? Yes, we don't need you to do that. How does that translate to Jason Johnson swearing up and down over and over and over and over and over again? He was told don't get out of the car, and that he was still in the car when he was told not to follow him. How does that translate into that? Will someone tell me that? Next cut. If we have it. Oh, that was the last Zimmerman cut? Okay. That was the last Zimmerman cut. Now, there is another cut from Jason Johnson, and this is, let's go back to cut 5, where he claims that conservatives want George Zimmerman to get off for killing an unarmed black young man, I believe. I don't know if he says black or not, but he says we have an agenda. Let's go to cut 5.
You can, again, like I said, I know you conservatives are committed to making sure that he managed to kill this young boy and he gets off with it. I know that's important to you guys.
You're
but for
right.
those
It's
who don't
important
really
to us,
care,
guys. You know what's
for those who
important,
don't really
Jason?
care,
That an innocent man doesn't go to jail.
I'm sorry?
What's important to me is that an innocent man acting the way any of us would have in
What's important
self-defense
to you
doesn't
is that a
go
man
to
used
jail.
Killed a 17-year-old boy who was acting like a thug, which you said to me earlier, months ago when we talked about this case, and then he gets away with it.
Time out. I said, time out. I said he was acting like a thug.
You went into his background. You said this kid's been in trouble.
Yes, he has been in trouble, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, and so I'm simply repeating what you have said in the past, and you have an ideological motivation for saying. And I'm like, fine.
No, I'm going by the evidence, Jason, and I am not lying like you are, sir. You're making it up. Yeah, making it up. I mean, what can I say? You see, he said when we talked, you said he was acting like a thug, and what's the implication? That he was acting like a thug. That I said he was acting like a thug on the night of, and I don't think I ever used that language. I did bring up in the past to Jason Johnson over the months the revelations that came out about his problems in school, etc. But I never said that he was acting like a thug, as far as I know. And I certainly never said he was acting like a thug in reference to that night. But you see how free and easy the words come and the accusations come and the implications come? You see, because the left is held unaccountable. And Jason Johnson was on CNN again today because he has such credibility. How could they not have him? Folks, I just pray the jury gives this man a fair shake. And if they do, as of now, there is absolutely no way this man spends a day in jail. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I know he damaged the country, and the Obama administration will deal with it.
But do you think it's possible for one man to really damage the security of the nation?
I think he damaged the security of the country.
All right. You know, any chance I get to hear the sound of George W. Bush's voice and play George W. Bush for you, I'm going to do it. So, in fact, that was him in Africa. And here he was being interviewed about Snowden, and he said he was asked if Snowden was a traitor, and you heard the answer. Here's the next cut number 14.
put the program in place to protect the country, and one of the certainties is civil liberties were guaranteed.
So you don't think there's a compromise between security and privacy?
I think there needs to be a balance, and I think, as the president explained, there's a proper balance.
Okay. Joining us now to talk about the saga of NSA leaker Edward Snowden is our friend, Doug McNabb, international attorney, senior principal at McNabb Associates. Hey, Douglas, how are you?
I am excellent, Steve. And you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to talk to you again. All right. Since the last time we spoke, which I guess was about a week ago or maybe a week and a day, apparently Snowden has gone to some 21 countries, and the list is dwindling. Are you surprised?
Well, not really, because many of the countries that are on that list are EU countries, and many of those provide that you have to be in the country to apply for asylum. As you mentioned, there are 21, and in the international arena we call country states. So if you hear me bounce back and forth, I'm talking about a country. But one of the 21 countries is Russia, and apparently President Putin yesterday said, "Hey, we'll give it to you on the condition that you shut down all of these disclosures." And subsequent to that, Mr. Snowden withdrew his application. But out of looking at the list of the 21 countries, and then on a country-by-country basis, some of these countries have said flat out, no, we're not going to give it to you. Some have said you got to be on our soil, so that may not happen. And so it's narrowed down really at this point to 9 countries, 2 of which are possibilities, because the presidents themselves have said that it's a possibility that they'd give him asylum, and that would be Bolivia and Venezuela. The other 7 countries, there's been no response at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I know we went. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We just have to wait. Well, I'm sorry. So we just have to wait and see whether those 2 countries extend an offer to him, or any of the 7 that there hasn't been a response from yet.
So let me concentrate on Putin and Russia supposedly telling him, as you alluded to, Douglas, that you could have asylum here if you stop your leaking. Now, one part of me wants to say, who are they kidding? And the other part wants to say, well, you just said he told them no. So are we to believe that that was a legitimate offer, and that they would expect him to stop the leaking, or what? Except stop the leaking to them in private, but stop the public leaking? I mean, what do you think's going on? That's what I don't understand.
Well, if you don't understand, you're in good company. There are a lot of us who don't understand what's going on either. I think it was a way for President Putin to get out from underneath the problem. I mean, he said, look, I'm not going to extradite him to the U.S., although I still think that there's a chance of a swap, even though the U.S. president has said no and Russian president has said no. But they very much want Victor Bout, who was the alleged merchant of death, the arms dealer that was just convicted in Manhattan and given 20-something years, and he's a Russian. So absent a swap, I think Putin saw a chance to get out from underneath it and said, "Hey, we'll give you asylum. However, you got to stop the leaking." So basically, I've taken Russia off of the list. The 9 countries that are left, I've mentioned that 2 of them are possibilities. That's Bolivia and Venezuela. The other 7, China, Cuba, France, Germany, Netherlands, Nicaragua, Switzerland. Those are the 7. And of those, we have extradition treaties with Nicaragua. That's really the oldest treaty and went into force back in 1907. So it's an old one, like the treaties we have with Cuba, Venezuela, and Ecuador. I don't really see the EU countries that would be Ireland, France, Germany, agreeing to do it. I mean, well, we're doing his best guessing here, but
yeah,
I would guess probably the two possibilities. Haven't heard from Nicaragua, but that's the old extradition treaty. They're Latin America. Maybe they might do something there as well. But the question is, how is he going to get out of Moscow?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you that also. Either the countries that say you could come here and apply, or a country that might welcome him with asylum. He has no passport, no valid passport. So are the Russians going to let him go, or is he going to live perpetually for the foreseeable future on the off the tarmac in the airport outside of Moscow?
Yeah, at some point he's going to overstay his welcome, I would suspect. As you point out, his U.S. passport's been revoked, and he had a refugee travel document, which I think is what got him from Hong Kong to Moscow, and then the Ecuadorian president is saying, well, the consul who issued it didn't have the authority to do that. He'll be punished, whatever that means. And there seems to be a falling out, from what I've read, between Assange and the Ecuadorian president. So he doesn't have a travel document. So if a state like Bolivia or Venezuela wants to grant him political asylum, then they're going to have to issue a refugee travel document for him to travel. He's got to have a travel document to buy a ticket to get on a plane.
What is Bolivia? I'm sorry, go ahead.
If he doesn't have a travel document, and Russia says you need to leave, either voluntarily or involuntarily, you need to get out of here, what they can do is expel him, and they'd send you back to the country from which he came. That would be Hong Kong. So he disembarks in Hong Kong, and he's now in the country illegally. He had a visa earlier, but when he chose to leave, I suspect that visa has been canceled. So he disembarks from the plane onto Hong Kong soil. He's in the country illegally. It's going to be a timing issue. He's going to apply for asylum a lot quickly, but at the same time, is it possible that the Hong Kong police could arrest him and either place him in extradition proceedings between Hong Kong and the U.S., or since he's in the country illegally, they could just expel him?
Hey, you have any interest in writing a novel?
I would love to have somebody help me with that.
Because that sounds like you got all the ingredients. We're talking to Douglas McNabb, international attorney here on the Steve Malzberg Show. What would he do in Bolivia or Nicaragua or Venezuela for the rest of his life?
Well, let me analogize it to Robert Velasco, who was indicted out of the U.S. for financial fraud. He hooked them to Costa Rica, secured Costa Rican citizenship, lived there quite happily, I'm told. And then Costa Rica, at the request of the U.S., reviewed his citizenship application, found that he lied, and so they were going to revoke his citizenship, and he left and went to Cuba. And he was given political asylum in Cuba, and from all reports was very happy, but he was also involved in the drug trade while he was there. Cuba charged him with drug trafficking, and I think he died in prison. So it depends upon, the country and the relations. And this is 10%, as I've said before, Steve, this is 10% legal and 90% political.
Right.
It's anyone's guess.
Well, let me ask you, you were the one who brought up during our last conversation about the possibility of Barack Obama capturing Snowden if he flew from Russia to, let's say, Cuba and came into our airspace. When the president said last week, I'm not going to scramble jets to go after a 28-year-old hacker, what did you think?
I think that the language he used was to try to make the political observation that it's just he's just a hacker. He didn't disclose that much information, but I don't think anyone bought that. Do I believe the president when he says if the plane goes over U.S. airspace, I'm not going to take him down? Half the Americans out there hearing that would probably say, yeah, they believe him, and half not. I'm doing what I do for a living. I'm kind of a skeptical kind of guy. I'd like to believe the president, but I certainly wouldn't want to take any chances with my client that something like that could possibly happen.
Right.
Again, we're just talking generally here.
I would have loved the president to have said, I mean, you want to call him a hacker to try to defuse the situation or downplay it, that's fine. But I would have said, I'm not going to discuss our options, or all options are on the table or some such answer. But to say I'm not going to do it, I'm afraid that because of the president's mouth that it came out of, he's not going to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah. All right. Now, so this, how long, Doug, do you think, we'll be sitting here, you and I, talking about where he's going to wind up?
I don't know of any. Of course, I'm not a Russian lawyer, but I don't know that it's been reported that there's any sort of a law or regulation that would prohibit somebody from staying in the transit zone in Moscow, forever, if you will. But I do think that at some point, particularly since Snowden has withdrawn his asylum application, I think at some point the president of Russia is going to grow tired of this. I guess since Mr. Snowden hasn't been seen, he's probably holed up in the hotel that's in that transit area. Somebody's paying the hotel bill, paying the food, and I don't know whether it's WikiLeaks or just who is doing that.
Right.
Could there come a time when the bill isn't paid and they kick him out of the hotel? I guess that's possible, but there's just no telling. I think it's going to come down to either Putin saying you're out of here, or one of these countries gives him a refugee travel document to leave. The president of Venezuela was in Moscow at a trade conference, and he was asked, "Is it possible that you could pull your plane up to the transit way and Snowden climb on it, and you could fly him back to Venezuela?"
Yeah.
There's that possibility. I guess that could happen as well.
Oh boy, and the hits just keep on coming from him, unfortunately, because it seems like we're still getting the bleeding of more and more revelations, and countries are ticked at us, even countries like Germany, and then the president the other day, or maybe it was Biden, saying, well, everybody spies on their friends. I mean, it's a pretty bad situation to be put into.
It is, but Mr. Snowden, we need to remember, Mr. Snowden hasn't been convicted. Mr. Snowden is a U.S. citizen charged with U.S. crimes. He's extraterritorial. He's outside the U.S., but the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution still gives him the right to counsel, to U.S. counsel. I am very surprised that he hasn't lawyered up by now, frankly, with a U.S. lawyer, not a European lawyer,
right,
so that he can be advised, as to what his rights are. But more importantly, frankly, is that once he lawyers up, he's a represented party.
Interesting,
and as a represented party, then the U.S. federal agents are prohibited from interrogating him.
Very, very interesting. The saga continues. Douglas McNabb, international attorney, senior principal at McNabb Associates. I thank you as always, sir.
It's my pleasure, Steve. Thank you.
Take care and have a great 4th of July. All right, folks, this isn't going away. Snowden may be going away or may not be going away. How long, like Douglas said, how long will he be welcome in Russia at the hotel outside the airport? Your guess is as good as mine. I really don't know. But he's innocent until proven guilty, blah, blah, blah. But hey, here's a guy who's admitted everything. We know what he's done. We don't know everything he's done. We don't know the extent of to how far he was able to go. And I would hope the people who have cleaned his computers and looked over his entries and where he had access, they probably know. But I'm sure they're not saying. All right, folks, we're continuing. We're rolling along. When we come back, remember the voice of Elmo? Remember Elmo? Yeah. Well, the voice of Elmo, 3 lawsuits of sexual impropriety tossed by a judge. Underage kids later claiming that they were, sexually assaulted by the guy whose voice is Elmo. And I'll tell you why the judge threw those 3 out when we come back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now. Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it, or you have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54, with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. Nearing the end of hour number one of the Steve Malzberg Show. In the next hour, who we have in the next hour? We're going to talk to Doug Schoen, a Democratic strategist and Newsmax contributor, and Mike Gauss, president of the Foundation for Pluralism, and we're going to say only words that are plural. No, we're going to talk about Egypt. But a judge in New York has tossed out 3 lawsuits brought by men who said former Elmo puppeteer Kevin Clash sexually abused them. Nothing funny. Sexually abused, except my imitation. Sexually abused them when they were underage. Okay? Federal Judge Kevin Kodal threw out the lawsuits yesterday. He said the claims came more than 6 years after each man reasonably should have become aware of Clash's alleged violations and more than 3 years after each turned 18. Now, there's at least one other lawsuit that's pending. Clash resigned from Sesame Street in November. But here's the deal. This statute of limitations on these lawsuits. You only have a certain amount of time once you turn 18. I think 6 years or between 3 and 6 years. I'm not sure, but it's around there. To bring your lawsuit against a grown man who sexually abused you when you were underage. Now, I'm a little confused. Actually, I'm a lot confused. Why is it then that the Catholic Church, you got people coming forward 30 years and targeting priests that are still alive, priests that are not alive, and now I don't know, and a lot of them have been settled by the church. I guess some have been. These were civil suits. I don't understand the double standard. I don't understand how if you're a famous person and 6 years ago, I don't know, and you sexually abused, allegedly, young boys, and then they waited too long to come forward because of a statute of limitation, all of a sudden, you're Elmo again. I don't understand. Now, this guy won all kinds of Emmy Awards at the Emmys that just took place a couple of weeks ago. Children's series, children's shows. I mean, the sick, twisted irony there of the people who voting him these awards for children's shows while these lawsuits were pending. But I guess I need a lawyer. Maybe tomorrow we're going to have a special edition with Kendall Coffey on a Wednesday. Maybe tomorrow we could ask Kendall Coffey about this in addition to the Zimmerman trial. Why it is that in this case, 3 lawsuits, which obviously show a pattern if they're legitimate, 3 lawsuits get tossed out because the plaintiffs waited for more than 6 years after they reasonably should have become aware that they were violated. And if it applies in this case, does it apply in all cases? And the case of the Catholic Church and anybody else? Or is this like a showbiz, statute of limitations? You can't bother showbiz people. And you certainly can't bother Elmo on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. At this point, no country is willing to take in NSA leaker Edward Snowden. He's applied for asylum in nearly 24 nations, but he remains stuck at the Moscow airport. And now even Russia says they won't help him. Snowden released a statement Monday evening also slamming President Obama for using citizenship as a weapon. He's been on the run since the U.S. revoked his passport and indicted him on espionage charges. Meanwhile, the U.S. and Russia are talking about a way to resolve the situation. Snowden withdrew his asylum request from Russia yesterday after President Vladimir Putin said he must stop his work aimed at harming our American partners. Without getting too specific, President Obama commented on the talks from Africa.
There have been high-level discussions with the Russians about trying to find a solution.
And as the president wrapped up his week-long trip to Africa, he and former President George W. Bush made a historic appearance together. This is the first time two American presidents have met on foreign soil to commemorate a terrorist attack. Back in 1998, twin suicide truck bombs outside the embassies in Tanzania and Nairobi, Kenya, killed 223 and wounded more than 4,000. It was al-Qaeda's first mass casualty attack on U.S. interests. And in Egypt, the pressure is mounting on President Mohamed Morsi. Today, time is wrapping up for him to respond to an ultimatum by the military. While members of his government continue to step down, again today, hundreds of thousands of protesters continue to gather in the streets, most calling for Morsi to step down. His opponents claim he is putting his Islamist agenda ahead of the country's, but his supporters say they will fight to support their democratically elected president.
I think that it's now time that we as Egyptians have to take responsibility as civilians of the leadership of the state.
President Obama also talked to Morsi yesterday by phone, telling him that the U.S. does support democracy, but more than one political party. And more testimony today from the lead detective in the George Zimmerman murder case. Chris Serino told the court that Zimmerman has been straightforward during the investigation while on the stand. Jurors also got to see and hear Zimmerman reenact the events that led up to the fatal shooting of Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman faces second-degree murder charges but claims he was acting in self-defense. And more than 1,000 people showed up for a memorial service in Prescott, Arizona Monday night. They were there to remember the 19 firefighters killed Sunday battling a blaze near Yarnell, Arizona. All the dead are members of an elite firefighting group based in Prescott. Meanwhile, the Yarnell Hill fire is still burning out of control, and so far it has destroyed more than 200 homes. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, must-see video of a Russian rocket that comes crashing down to Earth. What engineers are doing now to figure out what went wrong. Plus a Newsmax exclusive with former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy, an expert on radical Islam. With protests and violence escalating, what does the future hold for Egypt and its president, Mohamed Morsi?
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
And welcome back. A Russian rocket comes crashing down seconds after taking off. Engineers at the Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan are now trying to figure out why the rocket failed. It was unmanned, so no one was hurt. And with tension rising in Egypt, we talk with former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy, an expert on international terrorism and radical Islam, during a Newsmax exclusive about the future of Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi.
I do think he will hold on to power for a time, and really what we're down to is what will the military do? And more specifically with respect to that, has Morsi had enough time to put his own people at key positions in the military, and are they loyal enough to him that they'll hold him up for now? And I think the jury's still out on that one.
And this has been your Newsmax Now update for July the 2nd. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show. Some interesting things to get to in this hour and in this segment in particular. I'm going to talk to you about Aaron Hernandez in a second and what's going on with his jerseys. You know, the New England Patriots offered a trade-in. Anybody who has an Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez is the former New England Patriots tight end who is now arrested on charges of murder and is being investigated for a drive-by a few years ago. You know the whole deal. Well, they offered a buyback for the jersey, and they'd give you, or in exchange, you get another New England Patriots jersey. And when I tell you what's going on here, especially with some women who are supporting him, I can't even imagine. But we'll get to that in a second. Morning Joe. You know Joe Scarborough, big conservative, told Bill Clinton, "Oh, too bad. Everybody wishes you could be president again. What's with this 2-term limit? It's not fair." And apologized to Hillary for impeaching her husband, voting to impeach her husband, and and saying that the fact that there's so many whites on the jury in the Zimmerman case is just they're just aching for an appeal if there's a conviction, and of course, if there's an acquittal, and of course you can't appeal an acquittal. There's no double jeopardy. But anyway, yeah, that Joe Scarborough. That's the ticket. Okay, so here's his panel. Morning Joe, talking about Harold Ford Jr.'s there, and they're talking about Hillary Clinton. And, oh, if only Hillary runs for president. Here's cut number 6.
I think Nancy Pelosi said it best. Hillary Clinton, if she enters the race, which I hope she does, and is successful, I think in the last 50 years, you can't point to a presidential candidate or someone who would have won the office with more experience on the foreign policy, global front, as well as the domestic policy front. So the Republicans can't have it every which way. However, having said all that, I think these issues are ones that the Clinton team will have to address, and I think they'll be able to address successfully.
Okay, well, talking about how the Republicans are trying to portray Hillary and the Clintons as old news, very 90-ish, that kind of thing, and we should be moving on, saying it's Mitch McConnell, I think, earlier this year said it was like a rerun of the Golden Girls, which he better watch it. Can't bring sexism into this. And here's David Ignatius of the Washington Post, also on that panel. Excuse me, get all choked up when I talk about Hillary. Here's cut 7.
I think the Republicans are flailing. If that's the best they can come up with right now, it just shows how empty their kit is. Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, showed just what an active and dynamic personality she is, and campaigner she will be. And if they're gonna stick with that, oh, she's just too old theme, and don't have anything else, they're gonna get hammered.
Okay, they're going to get hammered. The Republicans are going to get hammered. And again, I love David Ignatius, Washington Post, New York Times. Now I'm drawing a total blank. But I love all the free advice to Republicans. You better vote for Hispanic, better vote for immigration reform, or you'll never win another election. You better be in line with gay marriage, or you'll never win another election. You better stop hitting Hillary on the Golden Girls theme, or that's suicide for you. You better stop it. Isn't it wonderful that the left loves to give Republicans all of this free advice? They are so kind-hearted. They are so big-hearted. It is amazing. Now, I bring up Hillary because there was also a First Lady summit in Tanzania. Okay, a First Lady summit in Tanzania. I know Michelle Obama was there, and I know that Laura Bush was there. I'm not sure about Hillary, to be honest with you. But this leads me to what Michelle Obama is quoted as saying at this First Lady summit. She said living in the White House is like living in a, quote, really nice prison, end quote. Really nice prison. Now, she says this in Africa. I know they had just been to South Africa and other countries. Now they're in Tanzania. I'm not sure the exact political situation in Tanzania, but telling the people of Africa, or sitting in Africa and saying that being in the White House is like being in a really nice prison. Obama said she loved her job, found it liberating in some respects, but confining in others. Quote, there are some prison elements to it, but it's a really nice prison. Now, that's a joke. Okay, that's a joke. But is there not a better way to joke, especially when you're overseas, especially when you're on the continent of Africa, when freedom and warring factions and democracy is such a problem and a challenge. Freedom of the press is a problem and a challenge in so many of the countries. Kenya, Obama wasn't even able to go to Kenya because of the trouble in that country during this trip. So, I mean, isn't there a better choice of words, a better choice of joke? I'm trying not to pick on her, but, and leave it to Laura Bush. She reminded everybody after Michelle Obama said that, she reminded everybody that the First Lady has her own chef. Her own chef. In other words, really? How bad a prison is it when you got your own chef, among other things, and a million other amenities? And Michelle Obama has a much larger staff than Laura Bush ever had. It's just something fundamentally wrong. And Michelle Obama then said, you can't complain, she admitted. But there is definitely elements that are confining. What does that even mean? You're so famous and important, you can't go out on your own for a run, or to the street, or to the supermarket, or to the shopping mall? What'd you expect? You got security because you need security? Well, what'd you expect? And I understand, and there's ways to say it. without that choice of words. And I think if it was somebody else who would use that choice of words, I think there would have been some concern, some problems. Okay. I'm looking to see here about the women. And, okay, I don't have the story about the women, but I'll tell you. There's online support and chatter and tweets and postings of support for Aaron Hernandez. And, you hear stories, don't you? You hear stories about serial killers and vicious murderers who wind up being, getting love letters from women, who send pictures of themselves, who pay them visits, who some wind up marrying them. And you wonder, what the heck? Maybe she, this kind of woman needs to know that her man's going to be in jail. I don't know. But how could anybody in their right mind, innocent until proven guilty, but how can anybody in their right mind really be, at this point, such a supporter of Aaron Hernandez? And there's a story on Drudge that Tim Tebow once broke up a fight involving Hernandez. Now, there's also all kinds of stories out there, unsubstantiated, but if you listen to the sports talk stations in your town or around the country, the chatter is the NFL. Another arrest the other day. I think it's 24, 25 arrests, gun possession, drug possession, whatever it was. They're now looking at tapes of games to see if certain players are flashing gang signs during games. There was a report that they have to check to see where they could put Aaron Hernandez because he may be affiliated with or friendly to certain gangs or a certain gang, and if they put him in with the general population, he might be in danger. Or put him in the wrong population, he may be in danger. What is going on here? I mean, is this even possible? Is this real? That you got NFL players, some, that are could they be flashing gang signs? I mean, is that real, what I'm hearing on sports radio? Man, is that what we've come to? Let me tell you something. The NFL, if that's true, the NFL's got a lot of problems. A whole lot of problems. So we shall see. And I'm sure that will be fully investigated by the NFL and their commish. Their commish. All right, folks. So I just wanted to get that in. I wanted to get that in with... I wish I had the hard copy of the story. That's not that important. Suffice it to say that there's a large female following that's now supporting Mr. Hernandez in his time of need, in his time of trouble. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be joined by Doug Schoen, Democratic strategist, Newsmax contributor. I want to talk about the Hispanic vote. Wait till I tell you, Marco Rubio, he bucked the conservatives. He said, I'm voting for this. I'm on the Gang of Eight. I'm going ahead with immigration reform. I'm going to do it whether, this is what I want to do, what I need to do. I'm changing my position. So how has it helped him in the poll in a head-to-head matchup with Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton? And how much has his approval rating gone up with Hispanic voters? You may be shocked when I tell you. Me? I'm not shocked because I knew it all along. We'll come back on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Guys, you've heard about Ageless Male, the natural supplement that helps boost testosterone levels within normal, healthy ranges. But now, the best testosterone product is even better. New and improved Ageless Male can help you feel more like you used to in your active life and in your romantic life. Because our upgraded formula has been clinically shown to increase your drive, desire, and performance. That's right, guys. Ageless Male has been clinically shown to boost performance. Cancel your plans this weekend. You're staying in. If you're ready to recapture the drive from your youth, now is the time to try Ageless Male because it's available risk-free. But you must call now. Just call 1-800-460-9790. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Oh. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. We are joined right now by our good friend, Doug Schoen, Democratic strategist and Newsmax contributor. Hey, Doug.
Steve, thank you for the introduction, as always.
Well, it's my pleasure. It was hard to write, but someone had to do it. No, I'm only kidding. Pleasure to have you back on. And
any way I can get it.
All right, let me talk. Let me give you some numbers here. Sure. A poll of likely Hispanic voters for the 2016 presidential race shows Marco Rubio trailing potential nominee Hillary Clinton, 66 to 28% with Hispanics, and 60 to 28 for Joe Biden. Marco Rubio's approval rating with Hispanics since he undertook this immigration reform mantle has gone up 1%. So to me, this makes the point that I've been harping on, is that A, immigration reform is low on the priority list for Hispanics, and it's political suicide for Republicans to go along with it for a number of reasons. What's your take?
My take is slightly different, but I reach a pretty similar conclusion. To me, it's not a political panacea. Unless there is a agenda, a pro-growth agenda, that is, for Hispanics that integrates them economically, politically, socially, and culturally into American life, and shows that the Republican Party really cares. Immigration reform in and of itself is not going to make a difference. And if the pathway to citizenship is as onerous as this bill provides, I don't think it's going to do much. So I guess we reach a similar conclusion, different perspectives.
And furthermore, let me ask you this. I've also been of the opinion that no matter how far the Republicans go on immigration, when push comes to shove, and if there is a final bill, and if there ever was a so-called comprehensive immigration bill passed, when the final product is held up, the Democrats will kick and scream after a week or two, after a day, that, hey, you know, we wanted to give you this, but the evil Republicans took it out of the bill. And I have in my hand this story from Yahoo.com. Rubio, quote, "I'm done if immigration bill includes gay couple amendment." Just one example. So, again, no matter how far the Republicans would go, and they think, and I don't even know how many really think this, they're helping themselves, they're still going to be portrayed as evil and obstinate and standing in the way of real immigration reform, but yet they would have caved in on many, many, many issues.
Well, let me put it to you this way, Steve. I said I don't think it's a panacea. I would go so far as to say that I don't believe passing immigration reform is going to fundamentally alter the standing of the Republican Party with Hispanics or generally. It is something I support. I know it's something you oppose, but bottom line, the Republican Party needs an inclusive agenda, not just an effort to attach a set of issue concerns to a bill to try to appease a constituency.
You know, I was listening to Rush while I was driving in today, and I guess he was on Fox and Friends this morning, and one of the things that came up, he talked about how the Democrats are just salivating at the thought of ending what would be known as a lame duck presidency by trying to take the House back and keep the Senate, of course. And he was asked, I think by Brian Kilmeade, do you really think that could happen? And Rush said, oh, yeah, because they're considering, you know, policies and bills and passing bills, at least in the Senate, that are detrimental to Republicans and not popular with conservatives and Republican voters. And he feels they're doing themselves a lot of harm. Do you see any way that the Democrats take back the House in the midterms?
No, I don't. I have to disagree. I think the Senate is in play. I think the Republicans will probably get close to winning a majority. Probably won't get all the way, the Republicans being the Republicans. And look, with the president at 43% approval, the people feeling the country's heading in the wrong direction, anemic economic growth, Steve, this is not a good time to be a Democrat or to be President Obama. Though I would agree with Rush about one thing. The greatest asset the Democrats have now are the Republicans.
Yeah, and what do you think it is? I mean, do you think Lindsey Graham, when he says these things, and John McCain, you think they really think that, you know, that they're taking Charles Schumer's advice? Yes, we have to pass this, otherwise we'll never win another national election. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Senator Schumer, for that advice, and all the other Democrats, too. Or do you think that there's some other motivation for them wanting this passed?
Well, look, I can't speak to their motivation.
I know.
I can only tell you this. If I were looking for an advisor for the Republican Party, the last person I would call is Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's a bunch of them. It's Schumer, and it's all these talking heads on the left giving this free advice. Let me ask you one more, and that is Barack Obama and the whole Snowden thing. How do you think he's? Well, let me actually go to Egypt real quick, because we're going to do Egypt in a minute with our next guest. Was this? I had Judy Miller on yesterday, and she said you can't blame this on Obama. But what wasn't getting rid of Mubarak? I mean, it couldn't have been done without Obama. The Muslim Brotherhood couldn't have gotten in without Obama. Doesn't he have some responsibility here?
Well, let me put it this way. Judy is a dear friend of mine, and I defer to her judgment on Egypt. But that being said, there's been no leadership from the United States. There has been no management of this process. And I dare say we're heading back right where we started, with military control, if the military does what I fear they will do, which is to go forward with a coup within the next 48 hours. And I'm not a believer in military government, but, Steve, there is now one fiber of my being that believes that what the Muslim Brotherhood and Mohammed Morsi has done is in the interests of the United States, the West, or the people of Egypt, for that matter.
Doug, have yourself a great 4th holiday. We'll speak to you next week or the week after. Thank you, sir.
I look forward. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Doug Schoen, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, more on Egypt on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS, or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming, the shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5 ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee, and is eligible for IRAs. The silver polar bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Obama, the bystander again. Here are the Egyptians in the millions out on the street trying to bring down an Islamist government, increasingly dictatorial, increasingly intolerant, arresting journalists and judges, trying to Islamicize the military, and the people are saying no. And what does the President of the United States do? He takes a position of studied neutrality. He says he's not supporting either side. And yet, as you pointed out in the Mubarak revolution, he obviously he took the side of the people. He demanded that Mubarak had to go. He was not neutral.
All right, folks, that's Charles Krauthammer on the Fox News Channel last night. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. What we're seeing in Egypt is unbelievable. If you look at those pictures, I mean, it looks like, if you've seen the pictures over the course of the few days, if you're watching at Newsmax.com right now, you saw that from last night. It looks like, you know, 1 million people. And they're talking about millions and millions of people, 20 million plus, signing petitions to get Morsi, the president, out. Joining us now to talk about all of this is Mike Gauss. He's president of the Foundation for Pluralism. And I teased a little bit before, Mike. I said when you come on, we're going to say words that are only plural.
I love that. We need to propagate that idea, Steve.
There you go. Well, just cut me in 5%. We'll be okay. Anyway, welcome to the show. Good to talk to you. So, you know, I want to give an update on the Obama administration. There are reports, and maybe it's been, you know, I've been watching the trial all day when I haven't been on the air, so I haven't seen the White House press conference. But there were reports that the Obama administration is appearing to be urging Morsi and his government to schedule early elections, which is one of the demands of those in opposition to his government. What do you know about that?
I did not look at that. I'm preparing for a keynote speech tomorrow night, and I was preparing, and I did not look into details.
Well, I'll take 5% of that too. But go ahead.
But that is the right thing to do. That's, in fact, on Hannity's show last night, I was advocating the very same idea. Instead of, I mean, they were democratically elected, although people really did not want the brotherhood out there. And Morsi is showing his true colors of being a fascist, being a Hitler-like, shoving his ideals down people's throats, which they were unwillingly taken. But I believe the people are going to revolt and take back the governance back in their hands, and they're doing it. And the military really does not want to take this thing. And there is an example in Pakistan. For the first time in the history of 60 years, the military remained on the sideline while the elections went on. And apparently Egypt is following the same idea, and I'm glad they are doing it. And I think Obama's call, I admire it. Let there be elections and stuff. Let the public redecide who they really want when there are 19 million signatures to step this guy down. And I think if they keep up the same level, there will be another government other than Morsi and Brotherhood, or the Brotherhood need to mend their ways, their extremism. I mean, some of the things they have said about Israel is not kosher, and they wanted to shove the Sharia laws. There's nothing wrong with the Sharia laws, but the kind of Sharia law they're advocating is wrong. And the supreme authority, the guy who can give his final word, is a religious man, and that is not acceptable. So people were against it. I'm glad the people are fighting for it. I know there's going to be chaos, there's going to be difficulty, but the freedom is worth fighting for.
All right. Well,
I'm glad they're doing it.
Well, Mike, what do you think is going to happen? Because we're in the midst, with the clock ticking, of what 24 hours ago was, I guess, a 48-hour ultimatum from the military for Morsi to acquiesce to some of the demands of the protesters. I've heard Morsi's people say no. I've read where Morsi's people are preparing a Muslim Brotherhood defense force. So where are we headed within the next 24 hours, do you believe?
It is very difficult, very painful. But what Obama has suggested is the right thing. I think Morsi needs to step down and announce the election and let the public decide what they want. I think if Morsi is preparing his defense forces, he is proving himself to be an evil man. We don't need a guy like that. We don't need to support him. Somebody who wants to crush the public protests. Public has a right to protest, and that is a symbol of democracy. And I'm glad Obama has taken finally at least one right step in that nation.
Well, it's funny you say that. Let's go to cut 18. This is also Charles Krauthammer yesterday talking about basically what, in my view, Obama spearheaded to get us here in the first place. Here's cut 18.
But there's also the idea of the national interest. Mubarak was pro-American. He was an ally of ours. He helped us in all kinds of ways, and Obama worked against him. Morsi represents a movement which is essentially, in that heart, deeply anti-American and deeply anti-democratic, and yet he's neutral on this. This is a shocking position for a president to take.
Okay, now, let's go back in time, if we could. How much blame do you lay at the footstep or doorstep, I guess, not the footstep, of Barack Obama?
Oh, let me make a disclosure first. I am a Republican. I need to make that clear. And then I'm acknowledging Obama made the first correct foreign policy decision, and I disagree with Charles Krauthammer. Look at two quick situations. In Iran, when the revolution took place, we supported a guy who was tyrant, who was killing the people, and when they got the freedom, they hated us because they hated their ruler who he supported. And Obama reversed that damn thing, and he supported the public, which is the right thing to do. Relationship between the United States and Egypt is between two people and people, not dictators who come and go. And Obama did the right thing, and right after that, Steve, we do not have public extreme demonstrations, anti-American demonstrations in Egypt, because it was the right foreign policy of Obama supporting the people. And now he's again supporting the people in a way that he's calling for elections. Let people decide who runs the country. And I agree with one point of Krauthammer, that guy, Morsi, was not the right guy. But since there was chaos in the nation, there was nothing organized in the society, whoever came forward with some plan, people went along with it. If someone else had a better plan, people would have gone with the other person. Now, as a foreign policy, we may want to consider training a few people in Egypt, not to dictate our terms, not to influence them, at least get them some ideas how the democracy works, and hopefully they will find the right leader, but not the Morsi guy. But if Morsi can mend his way and truly show that he is not an extremist, not a fascist guy, then we should support him if the people elect him.
All right, we're talking to Mike Gauss, president of the Foundation for Pluralism, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. See, my problem was at that very time, I don't think that you could gauge by just because there were a bunch of people in Tahrir Square. I don't think that meant that the country was in favor of overthrowing Hosni Mubarak. And I think the people now regret it. And I think that Barack Obama had an interest in putting the Muslim Brotherhood in power. I think Barack Obama wants to keep the Muslim Brotherhood in power. And I think we saw that with what he did in Libya. And he would do it in any Middle Eastern country that he gets an opportunity. I believe that's who he wants to be in power.
I'm not sure, Steve, that is a legitimate statement that Barack Obama wants the Brotherhood. I think he wants a governance of the people by the people. That I agree with. But choosing Brotherhood is not his way. If Brotherhood is the only option, he said, reluctantly he may have agreed for that. But I don't think he's not the kind of guy who wants to put a Brotherhood in his place. He knows what those guys are made of.
All right, so just to summarize, I'm going to let you go prepare for your keynote, which you could send me 5% of if you'd like, especially if you use the especially if you come out and you start talking in plural, then I get 5%. But that aside, so I mean, we have a very dangerous situation here. I mean, do you fear violence? Do you fear deaths? Do you fear what do you fear with the military? And by the way, you might want to address this too. The United States has a huge influence with the Egyptian military, because without the United States, there really is no hardware, there really is no money, there are no sophisticated tanks and weaponry. So we have a huge influence on the Egyptian military. So what do you think will happen between now and the next few hours?
There is going to be violence, there is going to be death, I'm afraid. It's a shameful thing, but that is the price people pay for freedom. We paid our price in 1776. Many of us were killed. We paid our price in the civil war again, and Egyptian people, unfortunately, have to pay that price to get the real freedom at the end.
All right, listen.
By the way, Charles Krathmeier, again, he made a very valid statement. Sean Hannity keeps saying, why do we support Egypt financially? Krathmeier had a very good saying. He said, it is a protection money. It is to protect them from attacking Israel. And I think that people should really understand Krathmeier is right in that instance.
All right. Listen, Mike, I appreciate talking to you. We'll speak again, sir. Thank you.
It's good to be on your show, Steve.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's Mike Gauss, president of the Foundation for Pluralism, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I pray that there's not a lot of violence, not a lot of deaths. But what Morsi has done has, again, tried to shove Sharia law down the throats of the people. It's what led to the protests in Turkey. Now, the protests in Turkey didn't amount to much. But this Egypt thing is not going to go away. Now you have, of course, as we've said, the military issuing an ultimatum, taking an active role through what they have said. And now we'll see what kind of role through their actions the military in Egypt will take. And again, look, national interest. That's what Charles Krathmeier was talking about. National interest. You know whose national interest Charles Krathmeier was talking about? Ours. Yours, mine, ours. The United States of America. Our national interest. Not the Egyptians' national interest, but our national interest. That's what Barack Obama is sworn to uphold. And our national interests were best served by Hosni Mubarak remaining as president of Egypt. And by the way, an issue that is never addressed except by some, and I am proud to count myself among the some. And of course, we had I told you of the horrific beheading of the Catholic priest in Syria, where they beheaded this priest. They cut off his head unceremoniously in front of children, men and male children. They were cheering. They were applauding. Christians, the Copts, the Coptic Christians in Egypt, what they have faced and what they are facing now is worse than ever. Worse than ever. Just like Christians all across the Middle East. But specifically, we're talking about Egypt. Have you once heard Barack Obama or this State Department specifically go to bat for the Copts in Egypt? I haven't. And I have a list documenting all of, well, not all, many of the church burnings, the fighting, the attacks, the murders, the fires. Just happens. And there's no reaction. Have you heard the State Department or the president weigh in on the beheading of a Catholic priest in Syria? Nothing. Why? How is that? I mean, you know, a guy made a video that had nothing to do with anything. And this president and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, they made a commercial that ran in Pakistan about, we wish we could stop the evildoers in our country from speaking ill of another's religion, but we just can't. But one day we will. Meanwhile, they're beheading priests. And not a peep that I've heard of from John Kerry, Barack Obama, or anyone else in that administration. And these are the rebels in Syria that now, as I said yesterday, you and I are supporting with our money and our training from our troops. It's sick. It's disgusting. But I guess Christianity doesn't matter much. I know it doesn't matter much around the world, unfortunately, especially in the Muslim countries and in parts of Africa. And you know what? Maybe it doesn't matter much to the leadership in this country anymore either. We know the media started attacking Catholics and Christians overall many years ago. And I guess now it's legitimate to physically attack them all across the world without a peep from our administration. Very, very sad state of affairs. Coming back with happier state of affairs on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? We'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
Pretty soon we'll all be leaving for the 4th of July recess next week when we celebrate Independence Day. We'll also be observing health independence. This week marks 1 year since the Supreme Court upheld the Affordable Care Act. It captures the spirit of our founders, the spirit they wrote in the Declaration of Independence: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Affordable Care Act offers just that: a healthier life, the liberty to pursue a person's happiness.
What on earth was Nancy Pelosi talking about? Forget the 4th of July, folks. We're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the passing of the Affordable Care Act. Actually, it's not 1 year, right? This was done in what? Oh, he was elected 09. Was it 010? 11? It's got to be at least 2 years. But anyway, forget that. Life, this is what the founders put in the Declaration of Independence. It's about a healthier life, and if you could see, if you could look at her while she's talking, I mean, would you have confidence in anything this woman has to say to you? Anything. Now listen to the truth about the Affordable Care Act, folks, from Senator Pat Roberts of Kansas, who spoke in the Republican Weekly Address over this past weekend. Let's go to cut number 29.
As we celebrate the 4th, it will be a mere 89 days until the October 1st deadline, when millions of Americans are forced to purchase health insurance in a special marketplace or exchange overseen by the federal government. Healthcare as you know it will change. Do you know how much your new plan will cost? Do you know what it will cover? Will you be able to see your family doctor? Will your personal health information remain private and safe? Will you lose the health insurance plan you like? Will the high cost force your employer to make you a part-time employee? Change your plan, or just drop your coverage altogether. Simply put, will you and your family have the health insurance you need to ensure your well-being?
And ladies and gentlemen, I could tell you that the answer to that is probably not. Let's listen to some more of Senator Roberts in cut number 30.
Right now, you can't answer these questions, and neither can the Obama administration. The Government Accounting Office found problems with the exchanges and could not ensure they would be up and running by the October 1st deadline. Time is running out. As one of the Democrat authors of the bill said, American families are facing a train wreck. Well, who's going to answer these questions? How will this massive federal government takeover of health care work? Even President Obama says there may be some bumps and glitches.
Yeah, bumps and glitches. All right, we're going to skip ahead for time's sake. Here's one more from Senator Roberts.
A year ago this week, the Supreme Court affirmed what we said all along. This law is a new tax on American citizens. Therefore, the IRS is responsible for compliance. Yes, that's the same IRS that intimidated Americans for their beliefs with unlawful scrutiny and audits and fines, and then lied about it to the Congress. The American people do not trust the IRS, not with their taxes and not with their health care. You remember the president's promise that if you like your health care plan, you can keep it? Not true for millions of Americans.
Gee, I am stunned. I am shocked. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the next hour, we're going to be talking to Rich Lowry, who has a great new book out about Abraham Lincoln. Also, we're going to talk about, the death of an American in Egypt. Just happened a few days ago. Why was he there? What was he protesting for? And we'll get a report from the Zimmerman trial. Hopefully, I believe testimony has ended for the day. We'll confirm that for you right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. At this point, no country is willing to take in NSA leaker Edward Snowden. He's applied for asylum in nearly 24 nations, but he remains stuck at the Moscow airport. And now even Russia says they won't help him. Snowden released a statement Monday evening also slamming President Obama for using citizenship as a weapon. He's been on the run since the U.S. revoked his passport and indicted him on espionage charges. Meanwhile, the U.S. and Russia are talking about a way to resolve the situation. Snowden withdrew his asylum request from Russia yesterday after President Vladimir Putin said he must stop his work aimed at harming our American partners. Without getting too specific, President Obama commented on the talks from Africa.
There have been high-level discussions with the Russians about trying to find a solution.
And as the president wrapped up his week-long trip to Africa, he and former President George W. Bush made a historic appearance together. This is the first time two American presidents have met on foreign soil to commemorate a terrorist attack. Back in 1998, twin suicide truck bombs outside the embassies in Tanzania and Nairobi, Kenya, killed 223 and wounded more than 4,000. It was al-Qaeda's first mass casualty attack on U.S. interests. And in Egypt, the pressure is mounting on President Mohamed Morsi. Today, time is wrapping up for him to respond to an ultimatum by the military. While members of his government continue to step down, again today, hundreds of thousands of protesters continue to gather in the streets, most calling for Morsi to step down. His opponents claim he is putting his Islamist agenda ahead of the country's, but his supporters say they will fight to support their democratically elected president.
I think that it's now time that we as Egyptians have to take responsibility as civilians of the leadership of the state.
President Obama also talked to Morsi yesterday by phone, telling him that the U.S. does support democracy, but more than one political party. And more testimony today from the lead detective in the George Zimmerman murder case. Chris Serino told the court that Zimmerman has been straightforward during the investigation while on the stand. Jurors also got to see and hear Zimmerman reenact the events that led up to the fatal shooting of Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman faces second-degree murder charges but claims he was acting in self-defense. And more than 1,000 people showed up for a memorial service in Prescott, Arizona Monday night. They were there to remember the 19 firefighters killed Sunday battling a blaze near Yarnell, Arizona. All the dead are members of an elite firefighting group based in Prescott. Meanwhile, the Yarnell Hill fire is still burning out of control, and so far it has destroyed more than 200 homes. And coming up next on your Newsmax Now update, must-see video of a Russian rocket that comes crashing down to Earth. What engineers are doing now to figure out what went wrong. Plus a Newsmax exclusive with former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy, an expert on radical Islam. With protests and violence escalating, what does the future hold for Egypt and its president, Mohamed Morsi?
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-676-5216. 800-676-5216.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts. And some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
And welcome back. A Russian rocket comes crashing down seconds after taking off. Engineers at the Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan are now trying to figure out why the rocket failed. It was unmanned, so no one was hurt. And with tension rising in Egypt, we talk with former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy, an expert on international terrorism and radical Islam, during a Newsmax exclusive about the future of Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi.
I do think he will hold on to power for a time, and really what we're down to is what will the military do? And more specifically with respect to that, has Morsi had enough time to put his own people at key positions in the military, and are they loyal enough to him that they'll hold him up for now? And I think the jury's still out on that one.
And this has been your Newsmax Now update for July the 2nd. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show. Welcome back. Rich Lowry of National Review joins us to talk about his great new book, Lincoln Unbound, How an Ambitious Young Rail Splitter Saved the American Dream and How We Can Do It Again. I guess all we need is an American, a young rail splitter, and then we could save the American dream once again. But I want to talk to you about something first, and we're going to get a report all about the Zimmerman trial. They're done with testimony for today, and we will talk to our friend Jeff Weiner of the Orlando Sentinel all about the goings-on in the courtroom. But first I want to take you back to a story. Remember last week, Texas had tried to pass a bill, the Texas state legislature, which would ban abortions after 20 weeks, except in the cases of life of the mother, I believe it was. A state senator named Wendy Davis, she stood up, she filibustered for 12 hours, and she became the hero of the left, the hero of those who would have a woman perform late-term abortions on a baby, the hero of Barack Obama, who would basically have an abortion performed at any time during the term if that's what the woman decided she wanted to do. Because after all, it's not the baby, it's her body. Remember that. I want you. That's right. Repeat after me. It's her body. Right. Okay. Now, so Bill Maher does this whole spiel, and I want to tell you, you want Hypocrisy 101? I'll give you Hypocrisy 101. Here's Bill Maher on his show on Friday night talking about Wendy Davis. Here's cut number 21, I think I said.
Let's end with mentioning the new political star that we have on the stage in America, the Texas State Senator Wendy Davis. Did you see what she did this week? She single-handedly stopped a draconian abortion bill from getting passed in the Texas state legislature, stood up there, filibustered for 12 hours. So I guess Todd Aiken was right. Women can shut that whole thing down.
All right, so she filibustered. He's happy. He loves it because it preserves a woman's right to have a late-term abortion, which many consider infanticide. Here's more from Bill Maher with his little joke here, cut number 22.
Finally, new rule. Stop saying Republicans are waging a war on women. It's not women they hate. It's women having sex that doesn't end with a baby popping out. Sex in their mind is for procreation, not recreation. The same way the G-spot is seen as just another liberal hoax that needs more study. That's good. That's good. All right, I bring this up because besides the heroic Wendy Davis, there were two stories in the news last week dealing with teenage sex. And just to be safe, the Vatican issued a denial.
All right, so there you go. See, he had to take the cheap shot at the Vatican, which he would never do against Islam because he's afraid. He's admitted that. Okay, just for the record. Now, here's Bill Maher, and he is now, this is back in, was this April? My good friend Noel Shepard will join us tomorrow. Yes, when the Republicans did not pass gun control in the Senate, using the filibuster and the cloture vote and all that kind of stuff, when they did not pass it in the Senate, Bill Maher was outraged at a filibuster. Then it was a bad thing. Let's go back to April with Bill Maher, and here's cut number 23.
And for those people who just hear that 90% of Americans wanted something, they wanted this background check bill passed, and it couldn't get through the Senate. I want to answer that question for them. How can something that 90% of people wanted, how can democracy work this badly?
Wow, democracy worked badly when a filibuster was used to a 60-vote threshold was used to prevent passage of a background check. That was democracy not working. But when one single senator on the floor of the Texas state legislature gets up and prevents a vote for 12 hours and, in effect, kills the bill temporarily, I hope, that's great. That's democracy in action, baby. You get it? Good. I'm glad I'm giving you a civics lesson here. Let's go to number 24.
I mean, I think there's just a simple problem here, which is a real constitutional problem in America, which is the filibuster.
Yes.
You know, if you have a vote which is won by a simple majority by quite a wide margin, and that fails, there's something wrong with American democracy.
Correct.
Right. Salman Rushdie. The real problem is the filibuster. And Bill Maher says yes. Right. But the Texas senator filibustered. He loved it when she did it, but back in April, he was told by Salman Rushdie the real problem with American democracy is the filibuster. And he said, right. And here's Bill Maher on the filibuster, cut 25.
to answer this question again, one, the filibuster, you say, which I have called before a quiet coup. I think it is. The Senate, it should be 50. 51 should pass, not 60. But that has become really the law of the land now.
The filibuster is a quiet coup when Bill Maher doesn't get his way on the vote. But the filibuster is wonderful, marvelous, and the Wendy Davis of Texas is a heroine because she used the filibuster to preserve the right of women to kill their babies after 20 weeks in the womb. That is great politics. That is what democracy is all about, says Bill Maher. But when it comes to a bill that doesn't pass with the filibuster, then the filibuster bad. Then the filibuster evil. Then the filibuster quiet coup. So let's review the civics lesson. According to Bill Maher and the left, filibuster equals democracy in action. When it relates to things like preserving a woman's right to abort her baby 25 weeks, 23 weeks, 9 months, that's democracy in action. That filibuster that preserved that right. You go, girl, Wendy, you go. Filibuster, bad, evil, quiet coup, when filibuster used to thwart legislation such as background checks for guns or gun purchases, thwart legislation for any liberal cause, then filibuster, bad, evil, quiet coup. But filibuster for liberal cause, that's democracy in action. You got it? Good. So ends our civics lesson. Did I say it was civics lesson? I think I did. So ends our civics lesson for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2013. I am Professor Malzberg. I hope you've learned something today, and there will be a review and a little quiz somewhere down the road in the future, so make sure you maintain those notes and study them at your leisure. In the meantime, we'll be right back on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show. You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful, it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you ever have one of those situations where you're a radio, TV talk show host, and you got a great guest booked, and you got the guest book in your hands, and you talk about it before the break, and you're looking forward to speaking to the editor of the National Review, New York Times best-selling author, a guy you've read and known, for at least through his writings and for years. Rich Lowry was named the editor of National Review in 1997. That means Rich Lowry, like me, is getting old. Anyway, and you got a great book in your hands, Lincoln Unbound, how an ambitious young rail splitter saved the American dream and how we can do it again. And you go to commercial break and you're all psyched to come back and talk to Rich Lowry. This ever happened to you? And lo and behold, somehow somebody took a wrong phone number. And Rich is probably sitting out there watching and saying, I don't even know where to call in. But it looks like we got the number because yes, no? Yes, no, good, bad, ugly? No, yes? All right, we're dialing it. This might be it. This might be it. If not, we'll get Rich on another time. But we're trying because we are a team. And when one member of the team accidentally leaves us with erroneous information, the rest of the team swings into action. And that's what we're doing now. But we got him. See that? Wow. Has that ever happened to you? Anybody? No. Okay. Let's welcome in Rich Lowry, the aforementioned editor of National Review and New York Times best-selling author and author of Lincoln Unbound. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I was very afraid. I don't know if you were listening. We didn't have your number, so we had to go find it. And I just told the whole story on the air. And anyway, long story short, I've already given a little rundown of the book and what. Okay, so explain to me, if you can, Richard. And congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
It's a great book, and I've heard great things, great reviews, and I know it's doing very well. How on earth did Barack? Well, maybe it's a bad question. I guess I know the answer, but maybe this is a better way to phrase it. We should have been forewarned when Barack Obama compared himself to Abraham Lincoln in any way, shape, or form. We should have known what was coming for the next 8 years.
Yeah, not any grandiosity there or anything, right?
And no comparison whatsoever in any way, in any aspect of their beliefs, of their way of governing, or anything really.
Yeah, well, Illinois, they have that in common. Lawyers, they have that in common.
Okay.
And in fairness to Obama, he does point out that Lincoln supported subsidies for the railroads and for the canals. and whatnot, and then tries to spin that into Lincoln sort of blessing the entirety of the government we have now. Whereas if we just did infrastructure, which everyone at some level supports, we all like bridges, depending on as long as there's a bridge to somewhere and it makes economic sense, we would have basically no federal government whatsoever, right?
Right.
The federal spending would be 0.5% of GDP or something. So Lincoln, he did support the canals and the railroads, but he did it for a very important reason, which is you couldn't have any functioning market in America without them. With the world that he grew up in, there was no good way to get goods to market. If you can't get goods to market, you can't have a market. And there also wasn't, financial markets to speak of. There weren't angel investors. There weren't big industrialists. So if you wanted to do these kind of big projects, there needed to be some element of government support. Today we have a different situation. If you actually have a wind farm that makes sense, someone will invest in it. And President Obama's green energy agenda doesn't have to do anything about developing the potential of the country. It has something to do with suppressing the best sources of energy in favor of, a fashionable lark in the form of green energy. So I think it's a distortion of what Lincoln was about, which ultimately came down to individual striving, individual responsibility. He hated the idea of class warfare. He revered the founders.
Yeah, absolutely. The total antithesis in all the areas you mentioned when you compare it to Barack Obama. I was joking earlier when you say how an ambitious young rail splitter saved the American dream and how we can do it again. And I'm wondering if it's going to take an ambitious young rail splitter to save us.
Yeah, I don't know how many rail splitters we have anymore, Steve. That's part of Lincoln's success, because we think of him as the rail splitter, and that's in the subtitle of my book, but he hated splitting rails, and that's why he wanted to create a new kind of country. And the anecdote that really gets to this, if you'd indulge me just 30 seconds,
sure.
He had a rowboat as a kid, a young man, on the shores of the Ohio River, and two gentlemen drive up with their luggage, and they want to meet a steamboat out in the middle of the river, and they say, "Hey, kid, will you row us out?" He rows them out, helps them with their luggage. They get on the steamboat. They're about to steam away. He says, "Wait a minute, you didn't pay me." And they said, "Okay." And to his shock, they both threw silver $50 down on the bottom of his boat. And in the White House, decades later, this obviously made a big impression on him. He says, "I realized at that moment I had earned my first dollar. I was a more optimistic and hopeful being from that time." So he wanted to create a country where people could earn a dollar and where they had to earn a dollar. Because if you read the letters he wrote to his stepbrother, who kind of lived back on the farm in a subsistence agricultural existence, they're excoriating when a stepbrother asked him for money. And he said, "Look, you are destitute because you idle away all your time. Go to work is the only cure for your cause." So Lincoln believed in this fundamental dignity of labor and the fundamental principle that you get to keep the proceeds of your own labor.
Right, the rewards of labor, being rewarded for working hard. And again, as you point out, that's something that is not the case right now.
Yeah, and this was the best people in the mid-19th century. This is the sensibility. I wrote a 4th of July column about Frederick Douglass, and it's so funny because there's a famous letter from Lincoln to an aspiring law student and asked him, "How do you become a lawyer?" Lincoln says, "Work, work, work is the main thing." And there's Frederick's wonderful Frederick Douglass lecture called "Self-Made Men," where he says, "Work, work, work, work." So he beats Lincoln. There's one more work. There's 4 work. But he says, how that's the way ahead.
And he must have been tweeting them in capitals because they were louder also.
Yeah, they are reproduced in capital letters with like 3 or 4 exclamation points.
There you go.
But this was just the key ethic. And Lincoln talked about striving, and he said the problem with slavery, it takes away from the African American the right to strive to be a man. So it's an effort. It's in making the most of ourselves that we become men and women. And that's an ethic that's really counter to the spirit of contemporary progressivism.
Not a couple of minutes left, Rich, unfortunately. And tell me the greatest misconception about Lincoln that we have that you found is not true.
Well, one thing that surprises people, he didn't like the nickname Abe. And this goes to, we have this conception of him as this common man, this tribune of common sense. He wanted to be respectable his whole life. He had a formidable dignity to him. The people who knew him best, his secretaries in the White House, spent so much time with him in the most trying circumstances imaginable, just said there was this line beyond which you couldn't go with Lincoln. Ultimately, he was this private person. So I think people don't get just that dignity. And you wouldn't. He's not the kind of guy you go and slap his back, right?
Right.
And he told lots of jokes, but they're partly the purpose of the joke was kind of to. And Reagan used humor this way too. It was a tool in a way sometimes to push people away or to tell them no without actually saying no. So he's not a warm and cuddly figure the way you may get from the guy wearing the stovepipe hat, on the President's Day sale at the local.
Right, Honest Abe, in the commercial. He's not the guy in the commercial.
Yeah.
Rich, a great read, and so much more to it, his education, and of course, dealing with the Civil War and slavery and all that. It's all in Lincoln Unbound by Rich Lowry, How an Ambitious Young Rail Splitter Saved the American Dream, and how we can do it again. Do it again. I almost said today, but today's not there. Rich Lowry, great luck with the book, sir. We'll speak to you soon.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy 4th.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, folks. Get it? We're coming back with a dead American in Egypt. We'll talk about it.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention, if you've been classified as a high-risk driver due to DUI, DWI, or tickets for aggressive driving and are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because we can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S. specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-836-4606. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-836-4606. That's 800-836-4606. Again, 800-836-4606.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're a worried parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Look at Zionism's true face, a propagandistic exclusivist movement that separates people by race. The U.S. made Israel its 51st state. They helped cleanse it of Indians. I would even call it rape. You beasts have raped the Arab soul. It became pregnant and gave birth to a child called terror attack. Now futile treaties have no worth. Gandhi's flowers don't always work. Responsibility you cannot shirk. The hand that feeds me is the hand that slaps me in the face and expects me to turn the other cheek so that it may slap me again. As I thank you profusely for the food that at your hands I cannot produce for myself,
Switch, your jihad against life, your religion of lies. You laugh at the rubble, women, children, their cries. Your dictators eat the liver of democracy, wrap it in fat and burn it over equality. You will never get to heaven with your 72 virgins. They are all worn out like your anti-Semitic vermin.
Switch, how could you rape my mother?
How could you kill my brother?
How could you lie to the rest of the world?
How could you allow those rockets to be hurled?
How could you arrest me while my fellows are imprisoned outside?
How could you call yourself a human? Think of all the innocents who have died.
How could you think of us as numbers, not faces?
How could you steal our holiest of places?
How could you?
How could you?
How could you? We are the victims.
We are the victims. Switch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, to explain what you just saw, if you're watching at Newsmax.com and or heard, if you're listening on XM 244, America's Talk Channel, or News Talk 1160, the talk of the town in Atlanta, I bring in our next guest, and we welcome to the show for the first time Andrew Bostom, author of The Legacy of Jihad and the Legacy of Islamic Anti-Semitism. And welcome, Andrew. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you again, Steve.
All right. Now, we're talking about, before we get to that video specifically, we're talking about the late Andrew. Is it Pochter or Pochter?
Pochter is my understanding.
Okay, and he was killed. I mean, we heard very little about it. It was mentioned kind of over the weekend as almost a very little sidebar that one of the people killed in the protests over the weekend in Egypt was an American, and that's really all we heard about it. But it was Andrew Pochter, right?
Yes, and supposedly. He was outside the Muslim Brotherhood headquarters in Alexandria, perhaps filming with his cell phone. And according to a veteran journalist, ABC journalist, who had contacts with intelligence in the area, this man tweeted that allegedly Pochter was asked whether he was American right before the knife was plunged into his chest. He had a wound right near his heart, and he died. He died shortly thereafter.
And he was Jewish. Again, before we get to the video, what was he doing in Egypt? What would he be doing? In the midst of the protests outside the Muslim Brotherhood.
This is the interesting, sad tale behind all this. He was originally trained, got his initial training in Arabic. It looks to me to be late high school or maybe very early in college through a State Department program, internships. His in particular was in Morocco, and he was sort of a cub reporter at one point for Al Arabiya. He filed a report during that Arabic training program, where, by the way, just to give you a sense of the mindset already, he was lamenting the fact that King Mohammed had only released around 100 jihadists when Morocco was going through their version of the Arab Spring, and there were at least 100 more that hadn't been released. But he was now in Egypt for additional training through something, through a Middle East organization that's been in existence for 60 years. And this organization, just back in January, February, had given an award to Grand Mufti of Egypt, Sheikh Ali Goma, for his alleged ecumenism. He was the Grand Mufti of Al-Azhar University, and during his tenure, I mean, he issued fatwas sanctioning the killing of all Israeli citizens, in other words, including non-combatants. He did not want American Muslims to participate in the U.S. armed forces. He sanctioned wife-beating, the punishment for apostasy, even was against sculpture. And this is a man that the organization that sponsored Andrew Proctor gave an award just this past February for his alleged career of ecumenism. I mean, this is what is really disturbing me now, is that we have the Jewish community, we have the university, we have the State Department.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The State Department. Andrew was a recent alumnus of the State Department's National Security Language for the Youth program, correct?
Exactly. That was that training that I was describing in Morocco when he was also served as a cub reporter for Al Arabiya, lamenting the release of jihadists from prison.
Yeah.
Relenting of the fact that not more jihadists were released.
Right. All right. So that's what he was. So that's what he was doing in Egypt. I mean, he was documenting this.
No. Actually, I'm sorry, Steve. He really was. Look, there's a benign side to this. He was wanting to study more about Egyptian Arab culture, and he was teaching English to children. This is what I find so painful about all this, is that I don't blame this young man. I think he's a product of this rigid indoctrination that people like him are getting.
Yeah,
they're blinded to the hateful ideologies that are so prevalent in the Middle East. They're taught this really despicable apologetic, so that in such an intensive propagandizing way that I think they really lose their bearings.
All right, Andrew, what will we, and we're talking to Andrew Bostom, author of The Legacy of Jihad and the Legacy of Islamic Anti-Semitism. You could check him out at his website, which is Andrew Bostom, BOSTOM.com, is it?
AndrewBostom.org/blog is the main one.
Okay, .org/blog. What we came in with this video of this Israel-Palestine poetry slam. What we didn't play the whole thing, but what were we looking at there? What were we hearing?
Well, in a nutshell, we're looking at an immoral equivalence between, the so-called Palestinian narrative, and the basic right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state, which is just typical of the denial of the fact that this is a global Muslim ummah's jihad against the mere existence of Israel. This is not a small local struggle between two nationalisms. And I just think that, again, it's evidence of the terribly misguided propagandizing that these students get. We can't, as adults, as parents, as relatives, allow this to happen anymore. It's just too much. I mean, if they're going to send people to that region, they need to know the basic history of the legacy of jihad. It's still a living ideology. They need to understand what the Sharia is, what its basic prescriptions are. And to go in blind to all that and just assume that they can apply, a sort of Western model of how to understand things and project that onto these cultures is literally suicidal.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately what we saw with Andrew, and you immediately picked up on it and wrote about it, and I assume your aim is education, frustration, education, and making sure this doesn't happen again, right?
Exactly, that's it. It's not. My heart goes out to the family of this young man, but we cannot allow all these institutions, which I find culpable, to present such a bowdlerized view of the driving ideology that we're living with, which is the Islamic ideology that is clearly rampant in our era.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you for sharing this with us, and we appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Take care, Steve.
All right, Andrew Bostom, ladies and gentlemen. AndrewBostom.org/blog. You could find him there. Very, very tragic story, and a very, very tragic way to die, obviously. And So now we've learned a little bit more about the dead American that's you might have heard about in passing over the weekend in Egypt. When we come back, we're going to go to our friend at the Orlando Sentinel, Jeff Weiner, and talk about what happened today in the courtroom in Sanford at the Zimmerman trial. Lots to talk about right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
A tragic fire, a break-in, a fall. Look, accidents and emergencies really do happen. The difference between life and death could be as simple as the push of a button. That's where Medical Guardian comes in. Are you afraid that something tragic may happen with no one around to help? What if you or your elderly loved one had a fall and lay for hours or even days before any help arrived? What if it was just too late? You don't have to live in fear that something terrible could happen. It's time you discovered Medical Guardian. Life-saving help at the push of a button. Get the peace of mind you need for yourself and your loved ones. Call 800-550-3470 right now. Be one of the first 100 callers and get your first month of Medical Guardian free. 800-550-3470. Call now and get your first month for free. The help you need is at your fingertips. Ensure your safety today with Medical Guardian. 800-550-3470. That's 800-550-3470.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, we are here in the final segment, and we're joined by Jeff Weiner of the Orlando Sentinel, talking about today's goings-on at the Zimmerman trial down in Sanford, Florida. Jeff, how are you?
How are you? Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's always my pleasure, sir. All right, let's talk about a lot of things. First of all, let's start with the medical examiner that was not actually the medical examiner that was responsible for the body of Trayvon Martin. I guess she was brought on just to say what she said, which was that in her opinion, George Zimmerman did not, actually his injuries were insignificant, and that one punch could have caused all the stuff to the face, and his head was probably hit maybe once, pounded once, or not, she didn't say pounded, but hit into the ground once. That's what she said, but to me, Mark O'Mara, I thought he did a great job on cross-examination.
Yes, she was kind of a surprise witness. We weren't really expecting her to testify. She's the local medical examiner for the prosecutors in this case, who are based out of Jacksonville and Duval, Clay, and Nassau counties up kind of to the north of us. Obviously, there's a special prosecutor in this case, Angela Corey. So Valerie Rao, the doctor who testified today, did not perform the autopsy and didn't really do any of the work in terms of the evidence gathering herself. She said that she was provided the evidence, that she reviewed it, provided by the prosecution, and that she came to the conclusion that Zimmerman's injuries were not life-threatening, that they were insignificant. On cross-examination, though, Mark O'Mara definitely got her to walk back a lot of what she said. She was initially saying that the injuries were consistent with just one blow or possibly a punch and then a hit into a contact with the concrete. But during the defense's questioning, she kind of said, well, it could also be consistent with two blows. And then Mark O'Mara basically took her through every single injury that he could identify on George Zimmerman. And for a lot of them, she said, yeah, it's possible that that was a separate blow. By my count, she got up to, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9.
Yeah, it was incredible what he did to her. And then a lot of times she didn't understand. And I just think, again, here's another case of the prosecution bringing somebody up. And in the end, after the cross-examination, the defense either comes out ahead or at the very least negates what they said under examination by the prosecution. And it's a draw, which is reasonable doubt.
Yes, and I've been following along. I was very interested to see what local legal commentators around here would be saying about this, and they kind of said what you're saying, which is that the state did score some points. She mentions that she disputes Zimmerman's use of the term slam, says that implies great force, and she's not seeing that with these injuries. She noted that his cuts didn't require stitches, but there's also that thing where the defense gets up and they basically poke a bunch of holes into everything that she said, and she wound up conceding a lot of what she seemed to be saying initially, not to mention that Mark O'Mara brought up the fact that she was basically appointed, at least recommended for appointment by State Attorney Angela Corey, who's the special prosecutor in this case, suggesting that she had a reason to be a favorable witness. Right,
and that she wasn't reappointed to the head of department, wherever it was, in whichever jurisdiction. She said she didn't apply for it, and then O'Mara said because of irregularities or problems within the department, he said yes. She said yes. So, right away, okay, her department had some problems, so she wasn't reappointed. appointed, and now she's working for the prosecution, and she was very, very under cross-examination, very, I wouldn't say non-cooperative, but maybe didn't understand and didn't want to say what she was saying and didn't like being there. And I just think that O'Mara did a masterful job in tearing apart what she said. Let's move on to the earlier testimony in the day of the detective. Something very interesting happened, I guess, from yesterday, where yesterday the detective was asked if he felt that George Zimmerman was telling the truth, and he said he was either telling the truth or he was, you tell me, or he was a psychopathic, pathological liar.
Right. It was a very interesting exchange that came right at the very end of testimony yesterday, where basically Mark O'Mara was questioning the investigator about George Zimmerman's reaction when Zimmerman was told that there could be video of the fight. Obviously, that was a ploy by the investigator. He was just trying to get a reaction out of Zimmerman, and Zimmerman said, "Thank God." So Serino said, basically, that reaction, he'd either have to be a pathological liar or be telling the truth. And O'Mara asked, "Do you think he's a pathological liar?" Serino said no. So therefore, they were left with Serino essentially acknowledging that he believes Zimmerman was telling the truth. Then, when the attorneys came to court today, the state had a motion ready asking for the judge to exclude that testimony. Basically, witnesses are not supposed to comment on each other's testimony, on each other's credibility or the credibility of the defendant. That's something that's up to the jury to decide. So the judge wound up agreeing with the state on that one question about whether he believed Zimmerman was telling the truth, and the jury was told to disregard it. Obviously,
it's hard to disregard, right? It's like, when you ask a question and then withdraw it, but your point is made. Also, explain to me why the prosecution decided to show Sean Hannity's interview with George Zimmerman. Was there, and then if I'm not mistaken, there was nothing else said about it. It was like, to me, a Sopranos episode that left you hanging and was never addressed again in future weeks, which used to disappoint me a lot. What was the purpose of showing it?
Well, I think the purpose of the purpose of all of these statements that they're playing by George Zimmerman seems to be, and it's the reason why defense attorneys often tell their clients not to speak often publicly when they're accused of a crime, is that the more statements you make, the more inconsistencies there are going to be between them. Whether that implies deception or it's just part of human nature, remains up for debate on a case-by-case basis. They wanted to show yet another version of Zimmerman telling his story. They were hoping the jury would pick up inconsistencies there. He did kind of go into, there's a moment in that interview where he's talking about whether or not he followed Trayvon Martin or not. In openings, the defense acknowledged that he did follow Trayvon Martin, but during the interview, he kind of says, "No, I just was walking in the direction that he was walking in." It's kind of an equivocation, but I think that the state's certainly hoping that all of those minor things kind of add up to something. And of course, there's also the line that was much discussed when that interview came out last year, which was George Zimmerman saying that this was all part of God's plan. So it's possible they're playing on some emotions there as well.
And we're talking to Jeff Weiner of the Orlando Sentinel here on the Steve Malzberg Show about the Zimmerman trial down in Sanford. To me, if you recall, the female police detective and possibly the male police detective or officer, I should say, were asked, do people's stories vary as they've told them once and as they've told them again? And they said, yes, it's natural. Did you notice any extreme variance in Zimmerman's stories to you? No. It was within the normal range. So, if the prosecution is looking to say, oh, look, here he said he didn't really follow him, but he told police. What he told police was very consistent, I think, with hardly any slight variations. And again, with these wounds, I think that O'Mara's going to be able to do an effective job, because there's been testimony to that effect of saying, hey, imagine you're on the bottom. Did the screams sound like it were coming from a man who wasn't in fear of his life, who wasn't getting hurt? Look at his nose. People aren't going to believe a medical examiner who says, oh, they're insignificant. I just think that this has been such a slam dunk for the defense so far. Let me ask you a question. Is there any talk whatsoever that if things keep going this way, the defense doesn't even put on a case, they just go to closing arguments?
I don't think that that's what most people, what most people in the legal community down here are expecting. Just because the defense seemed to put a lot of preparation into preparing their case, they've been acting as though they're going to put on a case. And part of the problem with that is even if you feel that the state's case has been insufficient, if you promised anything to the jury in your opening that then they're not going to see because you didn't put on a state, there's always a case, and there's always that concern. But Mark O'Mara did say early on in the trial. When he was asked if Zimmerman would testify, his response to that was, I haven't even decided if I'm going to put on a case yet. So at least in what he said publicly, he's left the door open for that to happen. And regardless of whether they put on a case before that happens, we're certainly going to see something called a motion for judgment of acquittal by the defense, which is very common. It happens in most trials, if not all.
And I would expect this judge to say no. We have a minute left or less. What could we expect tomorrow? Are we going to see forensic experts? Are we going to see the autopsy, the medical examiner? Are we going to see Trayvon's mother?
I think we could see all of the above. We still haven't heard from about bullet forensics or DNA. Still haven't heard about Trayvon Martin's autopsy.
And, of course, we did hear from the medical examiner that there were bruises or cuts or abrasions, as she called them, that are consistent with punching somebody on the knuckles of Trayvon Martin. And she did say no other wounds except the bullet wounds. So, again, if he was getting hit by George Zimmerman, there was no evidence of it. Okay. Hey, Jeff, hopefully we'll speak to you tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
Sure, thanks for having me back.
It's my pleasure. All right, folks, it's been a busy show. It always is. We'll see you tomorrow. Final show of the week for me, but we'll be here. So I hope you'll be here, too, on XM or in Atlanta.